Way back in the very beginning, the Ghostbusters were formed after Dr. Erin Gilbert was fired from her teaching job by her toxic male chauvinist pig administrator. Then the same thing happened to Dr. Gilbert's longtime friend and collaborator, Dr. Abigail Yates, and Dr. Yates' friend Jillian Holtzman, an electrical engineer of some sort. Together, along with their idiot director, idiot writer, and idiotic promotional department, they would pick a fight with the hand that feeds them, so fuck them, fuck their movie. Ghostbusters 2016 is not canon, it doesn't exist. But let's vent about this cinematic turd before the Ghostbusters 1 and 2 recap I have planned before the Ghostbusters 3 movie comes out, which I hope to shit will be a legitimate Ghostbusters movie, unlike this 2016 garbage. Let's talk about Hollywood hypocrisy. Hollywood shitbags are the most disgusting, vile shitbags on the planet. If anyone has ever mistreated or marginalized women or races in movies, it must be them, because they're the ones making the damn movies. But they're so full of shit they want to alibi themselves for their shitbaggery by framing us for it. But you don't have to accept that. Bomb every movie, every director, and every actor who tries to pack their own evil off on you. You know, we the consumers are the boss of the bosses. We're the boss of the executives. We're even the boss of the shareholders. And if they don't respect us, they don't get to stay in business. Simple as that. The power is yours. Exercise it. Accept no insults from these Hollywood scumbags. If they are incapable of grasping the simple fact that it's career suicide to pick a fight with the hand that feeds them, maybe their replacements will have better sense. And if the first regime change doesn't improve the industry, keep changing them out till the right people are in the right positions. By the way, I didn't buy this movie. I got it and a bunch of others for free for syncing my digital movies across multiple platforms by way of that Movies Everywhere thing. I'm sure a lot of people who did that got the same movies for free, so they can vouch for me that this was a freebie. Ice Age was free. Ghostbusters 2016 was free. The Lego Movie was free. Jason Bourne was free. Big Hero 6 was free. And X-Men Days of Future Past was free.
Read that.
Ain't no bitches gonna hunt no ghosts.
Oh, no, okay.
Everyone thinks this video is fake. Look at these comments. We have to bring a ghost back to this lab and document it, you guys. I mean, this stuff is real. We have to be able to prove it.
We will, and you shouldn't be reading this stuff. You're not supposed to listen to what crazy people write in the middle of the night online. Look at bogus equipment. You know what? I'd love you to meet me any place, any
No.
time.
Let's be right. We should do that.
I imagine Sony got some kind of compensation for throwing this turd movie into that deal, and maybe they recovered some of their losses. I hope they've learned their lesson about picking a fight with the hand that feeds them. None of these offensively woke companies, directors, producers, and actors should ever be involved with another profitable movie till they apologize for what they've done.
If it was a race thing or a lady thing.
And I don't mean a deflecting apology like, I'm sorry the man babies got upset, and if they try that crap, bomb them harder. The only acceptable apology would be something along the lines of, I was a scumbag piece of shit, but I've learned my lesson, and I try to be a better person from now on.
Watching you.
You think they got genitals in there, or is it more of a Ken doll situation?
I'm watching you!
I'm thinking a Ken doll situation. It's smooth.
The power is yours, people. You have the power to get that out of them if you want it. Their accusations are false. They are actually the ones who are guilty of the shit they accuse us of. Don't accept it. Reject the fuck out of it. And demand that apology. You deserve it and they owe it. And definitely don't prove them right with a knee-jerk anti-diversity reaction. When you do that, they win. Don't give them the satisfaction. They're full of shit, false accusing, finger wagging. You've got the high ground. Keep it. Since the beginning of time, or at least human time, since the first man and woman, whatever their names were, men in general have never hated women. Women in general have never hated men.
Oh, look, you're on TV.
It's so stupid for them to even suggest such nonsense.
Where Ms. Gilbert used to teach.
Oh, no.
It's unfortunate that we have these former ties with Ms. Gilbert.
There hasn't been complete equity between men and women because women don't have dicks and men don't have vaginas. Although the Hollywood shitbag idiots are now trying to make men out of women and women out of men. No reasonable person wants that. Reasonable men don't want that and reasonable women don't want that. Men have their advantages and women have their advantages. The stupid scumbags who have been trying to frame the general public for the scumbaggery of Hollywood are claiming some egotistical brioche was the first female to headline a movie. That's complete bullshit. W.C. Field took second billing to Mae West in My Little Chickadee in 1940. It wasn't the first time and it wouldn't be the last. There are more movie posters than I can count that have had female names listed first before the other names.
How about a handshake?
Mae West took that spotlight because of her feminine advantages, not from trying to outdo the men at manly things. Mae West's advantage absolutely was not how manly she could be, but how womanly she could be. And there's nothing wrong with that. Men are men and women are women. People who are confused about their gender, that's their problem. Their confusion has nothing to do with me, so it's none of my business. And by the same right, our cisgenderness is none of their business. Go be as fruity or as butchy as you want, but leave us out of it. Definitely don't be trying to pin your issues on us. We didn't make you out of whack. My dick never turned a girl into a boy, and some straight woman's cooch never turned a boy into a girl. Individual cases vary, but for the most part, cis people in general are not bothering confused people. So, be fair if you expect fairness. Be nasty, you get nasty in return. That's nature. What did you expect in return for your unprovoked attacks? And you know what? Mae West was a manizer. She had muscle man boy toys because that's what she liked. The dudes she had those kind of relationships with were willing. It's nobody's business but the people involved. Some men are womanizers, some women are manizers. As long as no crimes are committed, it's their own business, butt out. Nobody is qualified to decide how other people should act, most motherfucking especially scumbaggy, hypocritical, entitled, egomaniacal Hollywood pieces of shit. As a conscientious vegan vegetarian, I arrived at that position by way of an epiphany of conscience. I believe an epiphany of conscience is required to turn a meat eater into a vegan vegetarian for real. I mean actual veganism, vegetarianism based on conscience, not just trendy bullshit. I sense no conscientiousness in the SJWs, only hate, ego, pretentiousness, and hypocrisy. The person who needs to signal virtue has the least. As a person whose conscience has evolved, I only feel ashamed of how I was before, and that it took me so long to do the right thing, because I did know that what I was doing was wrong the whole time. It's common for SJWs to backslide on their veganism because they didn't get there legitimately. I got there by realizing that meat is fucking evil, an actual horror, and you couldn't bribe me enough to get me to eat murder gore. I'm horrified that I ever did it, horrified that so many still do it, and horrified that the slaughter of innocents is a fucking industry. I see it as cannibalism. I see a society in which eating four-legged children is considered normal, and that's a horror to me. I definitely don't see it as an opportunity to be more PC than somebody. PC means absolutely jack squat to me. I wouldn't enter a contest to be the best frickin' snowflake, for shit's sake. I'm a rebel. I'd rather do something that's politically incorrect just to stand apart from the crowd. All politics are fake. I see the very word politic as synonymous with deception. So shove PC. I do like to help people evolve into better persons. In fact, I feel compelled to, maybe even morally obligated to. I like to take the sensei approach to that. I just like to point out the truth to people that their beef and pork were sentient, and they would have been your friend. My methods may seem harsh, abrasive, intrusive, and annoying sometimes, but my intention is to be helpful. To the livestock and to the people who are darkening their souls with an evil they may not be realizing is evil. They know it but don't realize it. The barrier between knowing and realizing is hypnosis. Even self-hypnosis for selfish reasons is still hypnosis. Anything that keeps you from fully realizing something you know is true. The hypnosis takes the form of false justifications, such as the animal is less alive, or its life matters less, but those notions are nullified by their death panic. They panic in the face of the Reaper just like we do. What if it was us? What if that society existed? One in which we are the livestock. H.G. Wells put that in one of his stories. The same as we do would be done to us. It would be the same thing, so what makes it so different with the shoe on the other foot? I'd like to help people break through that barrier between knowing the truth and realizing the truth they already know is true, but they keep that knowledge in a box labeled "Do Not Open." I feel morally obligated to point these things out to people, but I don't badger them about it. If my points hit home, awesome, that's a win. If not, well, I can get along with that person, but we won't be close. I disapprove of their values and priorities. If they disrespect my points and or disrespect me for having them, I'm done. End of association. I hope that person never darkens my life again. I let my position be known, and I did it without malicious badgering. Who the hell would want to be a full-time adjutant anyway? Oh, wait. The SJWs do badger people. In fact, it's their favorite hobby. Or in the case of these useless gender studies losers, it's their pointless profession. All they do is badger people, and it's not to be helpful. The SJWs don't want to help anybody. They only want to tear people down to build themselves up, like abusers do. In their twisted, decrepit minds, making us less makes them more. That's because they are so spiritually limited, they are incapable of spiritual growth. They can't be better than they are, so all they can do is make themselves appear better in comparison to someone they made to seem worse or less than them.
I'd like to bring to light an aspect of our industry that has risen to the surface in the last week. It's an issue that's been bubbling since really the whole time, but this issue has a solution that each one of us in this room can participate in. So earlier this week, USC Annenberg's Inclusive Initiative released findings that 67% of the top critics reviewing the 100 highest grossing movies in 2017 were white males. Less than a quarter were white women, and less than 10% were unrepresented men. Only 2.5% of those top critics were women of color. So you're probably thinking right now, wow, that super doesn't represent the country that I live in, and that's because that's true. This is a huge disconnect from the US population breakdown of 30% white men, 30% white women, 20% men of color, and 20% women of color. So why does that matter? You do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. On top of all of this, Am I saying that I hate white dudes? No.
I personally resent the fake virtue signalers for making genuine, conscientious people look bad. By weaponizing virtue, they've essentially vilified virtue. Maybe that's their real agenda. Something some devil would come up with. The devil would want to vilify virtue, wouldn't it? I've been hearing for years that these Hollywood turds work for devils, and that theory seems to be getting more and more reasonable all the time. Brie Larson pretends to be a vegan, but I caught her in her deceit when she posted pics showing off how good she looks in her leather supersuit. Real vegans don't wear leather. Busted. She's a liar and a phony. I know the SJWs are fake, and likely their veganism is fake because they've weaponized virtue, and that's not how virtue works. Weaponized virtue is an oxymoron, a contradiction, a paradox. A truly virtuous person wouldn't be so hateful and venomous, so therefore it's not even possible for the SJW's virtue to be real. They are the most empty, depraved, rotten people on the planet. Never accept their insults. You don't need to explain yourself to them. They should have to justify their hatefulness, which they can't. Never accept the authority of authoritative assholes. They have no power over you but what you give them. And without the spirit they suck out of us like vampires, they are spiritless, empty shells.
What are you talking about? I told you what happened.
Why is Patty being shown taller than Uncle Bill, aka Winston, when in real life they are the exact same height? I realize that there is a gradient there, but I'm thinking that incline was intentionally used to make it appear that she's taller than him, though she's actually not. 6 feet. 6 feet. I call bullshit on this racial abuse on Twitter. For one thing, racial abuse is not allowed on Twitter, and secondly, the general population doesn't racially abuse people. It's part of the anti-people agenda to push the narrative that people in general do this shit, and I say bullshit. If it even happened at all, it was the agendas posing as common people to frame us for their depravity. Lots of staging goes on in our modern world. If you want a viral filming cops video, do some donuts in front of one, then turn your camera on. And the people will post comments complaining about cops. I'm not pro-cop, I'm just saying it's easy to hitch a ride on a trend, and people can create a sympathetic situation for themselves publicly. There's no possible way Leslie Jones was racially harassed on Twitter. Because most people wouldn't, and the few who would can't, because of Twitter's policy and their systems in place. But get somebody to claim it publicly and there it is. Artificial victimhood created. Twitter should take issue with this lie because it actually makes their policies and systems in place look ineffectual. But they're so in on the citizen hating, maybe they're willing to take a hit for the team. I wish there was a down thumb option on this bullshit trivia. Yeah, sure, people did complain about this turd movie, mainly because the assholes involved in it were false accusing us of bullshit like this. And here's another false accusation. These false accusations are the #1 reason why we hate Ghostbusters 2016. And here's a fucking another one. It's not the only reason we hate it, but it's the main reason. Bunch of fucking assholes. Well, this is unfortunate and unpromising. At Ghostbusters Fan Fest, Jason Reitman thanked Paul Feig for Ghostbusters 2016, stating, "And Paul, to express gratitude to you for kicking down the door on what a Ghostbuster and who a Ghostbuster could be. Anytime I see a movie where there's a SWAT team, there's that first guy who goes through the door and takes all the damn bullets, and you were the first one through the door, and you were the person who allowed me and many other people to make Ghostbusters movies about people of every race, gender, of people around the world. There are all kinds of Ghostbusters movies that I want to see, and thank you for making that possible." Bullshit. There was never anybody disallowing diverse Ghostbusters. Right off the bat, Winston was black, though I don't see why he couldn't have also been a scientist like the others. But hey, that wasn't up to me, was it? It was decided by the people involved in that movie, including your own dad, so bust their balls, they did that, not us. I'm not going to allow you Hollywood assholes to frame us good people for your assholery. And if you put that anti-people woke shit in your Afterlife movie, poof, there it flops. And that's a promise. At least this bullshit IMDb contribution has a downvote option. There. Now, 5 out of 11 found this interesting, which means 6 out of 11 said, fuck this bullshit.
Come on, girl, you deserve every wonton in the world. Don't let any man tell you otherwise.
We need this safety light. Safety lights are for dudes. Safety lights are for dudes.
They call it the Nutcracker. Oh, because it crushes the ghost. No, it's for walnuts. Smart.
Suck it.
Oh, my gosh. I think it might be a ghost. Oh, no, it's not. It's just a bird. Bye. There's the door. Later days. Can you hear this? Let me turn it up.
Caught it.